Hello, River Fund.
Good afternoon. This is Andrew Johnson. I'm reporting with the Queens Chronicle.
Hi.
Congress on November 1st allowed these
Sorry.
food stamp.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, the phone just went out for a second.
On November 1st, some food stamp cuts went into effect. Congress is now debating the issue of food stamp cuts. The Senate has proposed a few cuts. Obviously, the House has proposed much greater cuts in terms of their cost. In terms of their cost, what do you have to say about this whole situation?
Well, from our end, as being a client choice pantry and a benefit referral center, we're getting clients in, since then, which continue to come in looking for food stamps by probably 20, 25 a day in different levels. So I think the issue of actually cutting or, taking from people who are not able to put it all together and have enough, and most of our clients who come here are working clients. I mean, there's 60% of our clients who access our client choice pantry are working. Unfortunately, their jobs are probably minimum wage or lower, and therefore they can't keep it together for themselves or their families. The other group being hit hardly are the seniors who are actually on fixed incomes, and their fixed income just about handles what they're handling now between their rent, their medicines, and everything else that they have to keep up with. So therefore, taking $20 or $35 or whatever it is, depending on the amount of people in the family, taking that away just actually compounds the problem. It doesn't relieve it. I think there should be really an embarrassment on the part of our government. And it's not a pro-party or anything like that. It's just there should be an embarrassment that we're actually trying to balance our budget on the backs of the poorest of our society. It doesn't make sense to me in any way, in any kind of way here. So any cuts were not welcomed and actually did, I think, a damage. Usually how food stamps work for people who are on them is by the third week they've already run out of food stamps and food. And they access the pantry. We're open every week on Saturday, and we have mobile programs that go out in the Sandy area. And so what happens is when they cut, when they take, when the third week is over and they started run, the pantry is even more needed. Our numbers spike up to 700 plus families. I think it was 770 last week that we actually families that came in. So if you take a little bit more money, so now when are they going to run out of food? And food stamps will probably be 2.5 weeks instead of 3 weeks or 2 weeks. So I think we're just compounding the problem in New York and around the country, but especially I can only address New York. We're compounding the problem of poverty and the working poor and seniors who are on food stamps. So by no means do I see this as anything. There's nothing positive, or I know some people have said, if we eliminate food stamps, if we allow people to not be dependent, they can go find jobs, and that's a wonderful concept. But there have to be jobs to be found that have enough of a income to support people who are looking for the jobs or looking to feed their families.
Do you know of any people personally that have been affected by this? And what have they told you? Can you speak up a little bit louder, because this?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have clients coming in every day that come to our pantry that access both our pantry and our benefit services. And, we know families. Veterans are coming in. We have 3 new veterans who in the last week have come in for food stamps. But we have clients who are definitely, we did an article recently for MSNBC, which actually highlighted 3 of our clients who were actually cut. They were at that point going to be cut, and were cut by Friday, I think it was. So we know directly clients and people who we are serving who are clearly affected by this, which then affects us because we have to try to keep up with the demand as well. So yes, we definitely have, we have lots of clients who have been affected by this. Anyone who comes here, I think we do something like 40+% of our clients are on food stamps, and each one of them has been cut. So yes, we know exactly who the people are.
What have they told you?
Well, I think, last week when we were on Saturday, when we were sitting here, there was a gentleman, who is in a wheelchair. His daughter is a wonderful young lady, and he said he got his letter, and the cut was for $35. And he said, well, what do I do? And I said, there's nothing you can do. It's a cut. You have no say in this. It's just, that's what it was, $4 billion or $5 billion, whatever it is, and they're going to propose that for every year going on for whatever, the next 10 years. So he didn't know how he was going to try to balance that out. And so we at our end, as a Client Choice Pantry, try to come up with the supplies necessary for someone to feed his child and himself. But I think there's nothing you can do. I mean, there is advocacy, there are voices, but the cut happened, and they're looking for more to happen, which I think is, in a sense, it's just devastating a population already struggling to stay. The phrase hunger cliff is thrown out there. Every time I think about it, someone's hands are on the cliff trying to stay on, and we keep pulling fingers away to where there are no fingers holding onto the cliff, and they're going to fall into some kind of void here or some kind of deeper struggle. I mean, I don't know where else you can take money from for these people. I mean, they're between their rent and their bills and everything else, and here we are taking away food out of, and I think it is literal food out of their mouth. I mean, it's an absurdity that we've even, not only considered this, but allowed it to happen, and are considering some 39 more billion or 40, whatever it is, 44 billion more in cuts over the next 10 years.
Once again, can you just summarize how the impact of this whole thing, and what do you think the impact of this will be? And can you speak up loud?
Sure. Well, to me, the impact, I mean, we're dealing with right now SNAP and the cuts, the four or 5 billion, which I think are profound and deep cuts. But I think the bigger issue at hand is actually what we're not addressing is working poor and poverty in this city, and hunger. I don't think we're addressing it, because if we allow this to happen, we are obviously have no clue of what the issue is that these people are facing by working, that there are working people. So I think we're just compounding something that I think is a hunger cliff and a disaster in the making.
How does this impact Queens? Because I'm working with the Chronicle.
Sure, we've done some stuff with you guys for the Chronicle. I think, it continues, it affects each borough. We're in a hunger desert here where we serve. We serve in Richmond Hill, and we serve the surrounding boroughs. We serve most of all of Queens comes here. We have people coming from Jackson Heights, Brooklyn. I think people who are in need come wherever, they can come to get services and supplies and things like that. So I think Queens is hard hit in that it's a large immigration population legally here on food stamps, and now are being cut. I mean, I think it hurts Queens, and I think Brooklyn and Queens, Bronx. I mean, they're all boroughs that have a large percentage of people who are working poor, seniors who are on fixed incomes and food stamps. So I think it compounds this problem of hunger and poverty within our city, within Queens specifically. We're dealing with some 600, 700, just on our on-site, we go to Jamaica on our mobile, just on our on-site, 600 to 700 households. That's something like 4,000 individuals that we're supplying food for. That's in Richmond Hill, Queens, one pantry here. And I know there are several in the neighborhood, in Jamaica, and so it is definitely, I think Queens is a hard-hit area like the other boroughs. All individual, they all have their individual makeup and, population, but I know it's hitting Queens hard. At least our program it is.
All right. Thank you for your comments on this. Your name is Swami Durga Das, right?
Correct.
Can you spell that name again?
It's Swami is the title, SWAMI. Durga, DURGA, and the last name is Das, DAS.
Where's the River Fund located in Queens?
It's over at 8911 Lefferts Boulevard in Richmond Hill, Queens.
Okay.
And if you need anything else from us, we'll always avail ourselves. If you want to, do a take on the clients who are coming here. I'm sure they would, some I know are willing. We operate every Saturday around where people line up here every Saturday about 2 in the morning, and we start around 7:30, and we go until the last client is served, which is around 1 or 2. Yeah. And if you do publish anything, would you let us know?
Yes. Do you have any statistics about Queens?
Any statistics of Queens? What do you mean? Like
as it relates to food stamps and food stamp cuts?
Food stamp. Well, the food stamp cuts. I mean, it affects us in that our population, which is it's a 40 or 50% on food stamps. So I don't know if the statistics comes out. I know that what was it? How many meals were lost in this? There was something like how many millions of meals were cut out? 79 million meals were cut out in the city. So probably, Brooklyn and Queens are large populations served. So I don't know how many meals we've lost, but it would probably be a percentage, even if it's 20 million meals in Queens, something of that nature, or 25 million meals if you break it down by borough, and therefore, and we're pretty much, our pantry is open to everyone, so they come from Brooklyn and Queens, so I think probably even a higher number.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Nas.
You're welcome completely, and thank you for calling and paying attention to this issue. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, you have a good night.
Good night.